So, hooray! Good news! I'm a lot better now! Yay! Bad news! Now I have to get back in the old routine, therefore I overslept and now I kind of got a late start to my day. Well, at least it's Friday. Happy Friday, everybody. So let's get to my low, my high, my act of kindness before I get into talking about some things today. First things first. Yeah, my low is obviously the fact that, I gotta, get back in the old grind of stuff. But, it's fine. I mean, I was gonna have to do it eventually anyway. Is my color okay? I'm sorry, my color was a little bit. Yeah, see, it feels like I'm starting over again, right? Okay, let's see. My high is the fact that, actually, not only am I better, but a lot of people in my family are better too. In fact, not like it was meant to be a celebration or anything, but, it just felt really good to have, like, a get together with my folks. And man, we were all just feeling under the weather and we're all just sort of like, tense about it. Last night was like the first meal we had where, like, I mean, not that I didn't enjoy every other family meal I had this week with my folks, but this was a night where I didn't really feel much tension. And that was great. So, yeah, we actually had, I'll talk about that in a second. And my act of kindness was, actually, you know what, I'll talk about it now. My act of kindness was I actually helped prepare dinner and help set and clear the table. In case you're wondering, my mom made Lipton onion soup burgers. It was awesome. And this is actually really funny. But whenever my nephews come and visit them, obviously my folks have like appropriate foods that they can have. And one of those things is like mini like zucchini veggie little tater tots. So we had those with our burgers. They were good though. I mean, we essentially had like veggie tots for dinner. It was awesome. I love tots. Seriously, I have never met a single human being on earth who doesn't love tater tots. Who doesn't love tater tots? Tater tots are awesome. I wish I could just make like a video talking about tater tots, but I have some things that take priority, unfortunately. Maybe another time, but not. But today, I have to talk about, I forgot to mention what I specifically did for my act of kindness. Basically, for my act of kindness, I actually helped prepare some of the vegetables for the burgers. I cut the tomatoes and the onions and the lettuce. It was very nice. So yeah, that's what I did. And it was great. It's burgers made with Lipton onion soup mix. They're awesome. I know I've talked about them in the Mom Food Chronicle regarding that, but if you've never put Lipton onion soup mix in your ground beef before making a burger, seriously, that's what I grew up with. I know technically you're not supposed to season your ground beef before you cook it into a burger, but it's what I grew up on, and then personally I think it's worth trying at least once. Speaking of trying things at least once, the new hot sauce is for Hot Ones. Man, when Sean Evans said that was a spicy number 2, that was a spicy number 2. So yes, Hot Ones made its triumphant return with the season 17 opener, with it being Seth Rogen's third appearance on the series, because he was with he did it with someone else, I forget who it was, and then he did Truth or Dab with Charlize Theron in promotion for the movie Long Shot, which I have talked about that movie before. It's a very funny movie, highly recommend. And then he's doing the 10 Wings of Death by himself. And listen, if you've been watching First We Feast over the last several years, then you pretty much know that Seth Rogen is first week feature royalty at this point. He ought to be. I mean, not only was this his third appearance on Hot Ones, but he's actually been on The Burger Show too. And if you've ever watched The Burger Show, which I highly recommend you do, especially if you like burgers. I love burgers. If you ever watched The Burger Show and you saw his episode on it, he famously said that thick burger patties are, for pardon the language, dickheads. Well, believe it or not, Alvin Kylon, the host of The Burger Show, actually made a burger named the DH Burger. Obviously, DH standing for, again, pardon the language, dickhead. And from what I hear, it's actually a very, very popular burger at his place. You know, it is a thick patty burger, and, you know, it actually, according to Alvin, you know, it's a $20 burger, but for what it's made from and what it is, it actually fights above its weight class. And I've actually seen it being made, obviously on, you know, The Burger Show before. So when Alvin Kylon says that burger fights above its weight class, I get it. Speaking of burgers, because he was on The Burger Show and for what he famously said, Seth Rogen has actually judged a burger contest before. Yeah, he mentioned that at Hot Ones yesterday. He had like 50 burgers throughout the course of the day, and it was one of the best days of his life. I'd have to agree. That's actually, seriously, like, I would love to judge one of those things. Seriously, like judges of contests that involve food. Holla at your boy. You know, I'll judge. Sure. I can be very objective. Absolutely. Well, I can be. I mean, I try not to be because I know that every dish would have been made with the utmost love and care. And I would definitely take that into consideration. But in the end, you know, I would have to be objective to be a judge, which I could do. I've been objective before. You've seen me be objective with, my being objective on these videos before. I mean, and I was actually going to bring this up at the end of the video, but I know that technically, like, some people are probably a little bit concerned about how loose I was with how I gave Lord of the Rings an S tier, even though, let's be honest, it clearly did deserve it. And I did mention there are several other series that are going to get it. So, considering that at the beginning of the year, I'll say for the end, never mind, I gotta talk about Hot Ones and the Go Big Show. Holy cow, I'm running out of time. So, Seth Rogen's episode was great. He talked about how the shaving scene in 50-50 was completely improv, 100% improv. He talked about how he and a bunch of friends, including Evan Goldberg, who he had the last dab with, went to a place for paintball, but then they were ambushed, but Seth Rogen ran away. That actually sounds like a funny story. I've done a little paintball before. Not much, though. I've never actually been to like a paintball thing, but I used to have a paintball gun. My cousin got me and my brother really into it at one point. Personally, I never really, saw the appeal. But, I know a lot of people really do like it. And if I had an opportunity to give paintball a chance, I'd do it. But that's just me. Anyway, I don't really want to give away Seth Rogen's episode without giving away that much, other than it was a great way to kick off season 17. I'm highly, highly, highly excited for what's next. And all I can say is right now, I got to talk about the Go Big Show. So, the Go Big Show, once again, went big. And there was a lot of close contests last night. I mean, Divine Strength versus the Flying Frenchman. Horse versus, Juggling Music Man. Not to mention, two beautiful aerialists versus, the greatest Filipino parkour guy ever, and a guy named Jose Angeles, which, seriously, Jose Angeles, that is an awesome name. I'm actually kind of rooting for that guy. I'm not kidding. And I'm glad because he got to move on, and that's really cool. So, Divine Strength, basically, like, the Divine Strength guy had two motorcycles prying apart, and he, like, barely moved. Trying to, because he's, like, a pastor, so he's, like, trying to spread the message of God, like, strength comes from within and stuff. Like, seriously, like, and the Flying Frenchman was, like, jumping over, like, actual bulls or whatever. The score was 95-93 with the Flying Frenchman taking the win. It was close, man. It was real close. But you know what? Divine Strength guy, he got to spread the message of God. That's always a good thing, right? Now, I got to talk about Horse and the Juggler, because honestly, I think the Juggler got robbed here. Because, like, the Juggler, he's able to juggle, but he had a thing where, like, he's juggling downwards on, like, a piano on the ground, and he's playing music. And really good music in a fast-paced sort of thing, too. He did T-Pain's All I Do Is Win right in front of T-Pain. And that didn't move on. You know what did move on, though? And I do need to bring this up. Okay, so listen. You guys, obviously at this point, know I'm a dude. There are parts about my anatomy that dictate and characterize me as a dude. Naturally, what I'm getting at is the guy did all sorts of crazy things that involved hitting himself in the testicles. And that actually won over the juggling guy. Listen, I know that there is legit appeal to getting hit in the testicles. Of course I do. It's a guaranteed laugh maker if you're watching a movie or watching a show or doing it in front of a live audience in this case. Like, lots of people find that funny. And while admittedly I do too, albeit not nearly as much, I'll also have to be honest too. I know a lot of guys tend to react like, oh, I could feel that. Like, I'll be honest, all that, and I never really felt that at all. But then again, I never really, because, obviously if it's happening to me, yeah, I'm going to feel that. If it's not happening to me, though, I'm not really going to care, or flinch for that matter. Sorry. If I really wanted to make myself cringe in any way, my guilty pleasure would be watching the show Botched. That show really gets me in terms of like, oh, I can feel like everything going on there. But this surprisingly doesn't, if you can believe it. So, yes, the Flying Frenchman, Horse, and Jose Angeles, they got to move on. So, it was a really great episode last night. Can't wait for next week either. And, yeah, Hot Ones Season 17 opener. Check. New episode of the To Go Big Show. Check again. And while I have a spare moment, I kind of have an idea as to what I was talking about earlier involving, S tier. And what I choose and what characteristics I give for S tier. Full disclosure, tomorrow, I think, provided nothing happens. Yeah, there are some NFL games going on tomorrow, but I could always still wear my, I always could still wear my jersey for any situation as long as I mention the games. Basically, long story short, tomorrow is going to be another movies of my youth. Specifically the Harry Potter movies. Which actually makes sense because at the beginning of this year, like Harry Potter did that 20th anniversary thing going on. And yeah, these are definitely movies I saw all throughout my youth. An entire decade, in fact. And actually longer than a decade, I think. So, yeah. I could probably spare talk about Harry Potter tomorrow. Why not? I mean, I have already talked about my passport. There's really no reason why I couldn't talk about my thoughts on the series as a whole. I mean, I'm a little on the fence about talking about Harry Potter tomorrow, just simply because, it's the Harry Potter franchise. What hasn't already been said about it? I don't know, but, I can at least give my personal thoughts on that. Especially when, having watched people review Harry Potter for years now, and seen the Harry Potter movies for years now, I think I can give some pretty solid thoughts of my own. I mean, full disclosure, I already gave it S tier, so you know how good I think it is. But I should probably elaborate why. So tune in tomorrow for that. Like, favorite, share, subscribe, and follow me on social platforms on YouTube. I'm very humble in this video for all you guys watching. Joe for the hope you have a wonderful, wonderful Friday. Remember, you want to talk channel, I'm always going to be here to lend your host back. Take care and make good choices. See ya.